Happy New Year. Please silence your cell phones. And welcome to the Unitarian Universal Congregation of the Shenandoah Valley. I'm Marty Saltzman, and I am a member of the Board of Trustees. We are a welcoming, supportive congregation. We encourage you to join us in the quest for spirituality, justice, and community. As UUs, we invite you to bring your true selves here. We like to say, we don't have to think alike to love alike. If you are new to UU, please take note of our mission statement on the front of the order of service and the 8 UU principles on the back. It's our tradition to welcome first and second time visitors, or those of you who haven't been here for a while, and we ask you, if you're willing and able, please stand and introduce yourselves and tell us where you're from. So, over here.
I'm Ashley English. I live in Candler, and I'm here to be here for my friend Byron.
Welcome. Anyone else?
Mike Bear, second time. I live in Black Mountain.
Yay, welcome.
Caroline, I live in Black Mountain.
Welcome.
Lee McBride, I live in Asheville, here for the first time.
Oh, welcome. Anyone else on this side? Everybody's chomping at the bit over here. Okay.
I'm Maggie Kleiber from Highland Farms here in Black Mountain.
Welcome. Anyone else on this side? Yep.
Walt Perry from Blacksburg, Virginia, in the UU Church of the New River Valley, first time.
Okay, welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Grace. I live in Black Mountain. I'm only
Yes.
I'm Heidi Swan. I'm a friend of Carol Black's, and I've known that we were up in the Boone Unitarian Fellowship together for a long time. So it's my second time here.
Great.
In Asheville.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, there's a white card in the back of the pew, or there's some out in the foyer, and if you'd like us to get in touch with you or you want to learn more about it, please fill us out. Or you can chat with one of the people on our membership committee who wear orange badges as Andy is modeling. You always wanted to be a model, Andy, I know. Okay, let's see now. I got a couple of things here. One of it is that our chalice today is a lamp of peace made in Palestine and given to UUCSV in 2009 at a concert for peace by the Sahara Women's Peace Choir benefiting the Maliyah Women's Arts Center in Palestine. It has words of peace imprinted in many languages, including Hebrew, Arabic, and Greek. And finally, I'd like to read our land statement. It is our practice to acknowledge with respect that the land we are on is the ancestral home of the Cherokee and other indigenous people who through their stewardship and conservation survived and thrived on this land. And we acknowledge their enduring connection to this beautiful place. And now, I wish you peace on earth, and let the service begin.
We know who's next, don't worry. We got it. Not my first rodeo at the CSV. This is one of the most pleasurable parts of any service, Unitarian Universalist service, and it is my pleasure today to give you the words of the chalice lighting. I ask that you take a nice deep breath and exhale. Today, on this last day of 2023, we gather here in this beloved, familiar place to light the candle that symbolizes the brightness we carry with us into this fresh new year. May our light show us the way forward and through, and may we share that brightness with all those whose lights have been dimmed or extinguished this year. In community, hope, and strength, we light the living flame. Blessed be.
Please join us in singing hymn number 362, Rise Up, O Flame. You can rise as you will.
There's various stages to this song, and the first stage would be to just sing it from the book. Then I'm going to add a few hand signals. So, rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. One more time. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Now I notice how many people have it memorized, because you can put it down, because we're going to try to do some hand signals, all right? All right, so here's the flame rising. Rise up, O flame, with thy light glowing. Okay? And then this is American Sign Language. Show to us beauty, that's you, your face, vision, and joy. Okay? Should I go over that again?
Yeah.
Okay. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing. Show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Okay? Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision. One more time, one more time. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. This is a responsive reading, so you have an insert in your program. And before I start, I just want to mention this service has mentions of the New Year's Eve in many, many cultures. But I do want to mention that to the Gullah people, this is called Watch Night from 1864, when everyone sat together waiting for the moment of emancipation. So I just want to make that mention. Watch Night. Coming together here, we warm each other's hearts in the darkness.
The sun, far away, yearns to embrace us in her warmth once again.
But this is our time to journey into the depths of the darkness.
This is the time to surrender and listen deep to our souls.
This is the time to close our eyes, slow down, and be lulled by the darkness.
Our Blessed Mother Gaia dwells within the darkness.
Inhale the song of her soul, her soil, her dark caves, her rich dark humus.
Mother Earth welcomes you into the darkness.
Walk with confidence, all people. Walk safely into the darkness.
Let us love the night, the moon, the stars, the planets, the seven sisters high above.
Revel in this other half of our lives, the darkness.
The beauty of the dark earth, the darkness of skin, the dark curves of mountain roads.
The seven sister mountains in their powerful darkness presiding over Black Mountain.
Our dark blood, our earth, our deepest selves, the darkness.
Where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is blessing. Where there is blessing, there is God. Where there is God, there is no need.
And now is the time for our joys and concerns. Please come forward and share in whichever way you wish.
Reverend Carter asked me to make a couple of special sorrows. The candle is lit for Rosemary Ostertag, our friend who passed away recently. And the other one is David Bear and his wife Dorothy Bear were in a serious car accident on Christmas Day. Both are healing well and on the mend. Both David and Dorothy are at Spartanburg Medical Center. Prayers and healing thoughts are appreciated.
Thank you. And may all the joys and sorrows that were unspoken and remain in your hearts be welcomed. Our next hymn is number 55, Dark of Winter. And you can rise if you're willing and able.
I'm going to play through it one time in case this is unfamiliar to you.
Weathered hand, rough and gnarled, reaches down to stroke your cheek as you lay curled in the darkness, waiting. Grandmother Moon, reach in your apron pocket, child, and see what seeds there are to be sown. We have much to do. With a barely audible creak, like the opening door of an ancient farmhouse, a sliver of light is revealed in the night sky. Now here is the moon in her maiden form. Can you feel the energy rising? What path shall you choose, she asks. Come, it is time to get started. I light the way. And so we begin again.
I'm so honored to introduce Byron Ballard today. Byron Ballard was my pagan connection when I moved to Black Mountain from Florida in 2007. She frequently would give talks here at UUCSB on topics related to the cycles of the year. She and Linda Metzner, Mamie Hillier, and I co-taught the UU curriculums on the ancient goddesses, the religions of Western Europe, the Americas, Africa, and Asia. Byron was also able to update the information as she keeps up with goddess-oriented archaeological news. She has written a column called From a Village Witch, in Asheville, as well as numerous books, including 4 on mountain folk magic. Some will be available in the portico after the service. Byron is active with the Mother Grove Temple in Asheville. She is a BFA, MFA, and a native of Western North Carolina, a writer, an amateur folklorist, and her specialty is Appalachian folk magic and healing. She tours extensively in the U.S. and Great Britain. Let's all welcome Byron Ballard.
Thank you, Barb. Thanks, all of you. Our meditation this morning comes from our beloved Saint Mary Oliver. And I picked this particularly for this day. One day you finally knew what you had to do, and you began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, through the whole house began to tremble, and you felt the old tug at your ankles. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own. That voice kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life that you could save. Blessed be.
It's our time to receive our offertory. So please give us your willing and joyful.
Something very important. Excuse me. I did hospice work for about 9 years, and we became extremely connected and loving and did a lot of work. And Betty, who I adored, from Ireland, with a great way of speaking. She died, and it's a tremendous loss to lose Betty.
curiosity, everyone.
Where am I? Oh.
First off, thank you all for inviting me here this morning. I'm grateful to my friend and colleague, Annalinda Metzner, for thinking of me for this New Year's Eve service. New Year's Eve. How many times do we celebrate a new year? There's tonight, of course, but there's also Lunar New Year in a few weeks, Jewish New Year, Pagan New Year, which we celebrated in November, and so many others. Each birthday celebrates a personal new year. Each anniversary honors a collective history and the continuation of that history. If you work with a nonprofit, as some of you do, the fiscal year often begins July 1. The chiming of the clock at midnight tonight marks the new year numerically. We will leave 2023 and face the opening gambit of 2024. 2024. All those lovely even numbers. Several friends have been having a particularly hard time in these waning weeks of 2023. One of those friends and I discussed our general levels of stress, and she remarked that some of her health issues were related to that stress, and she would feel better when she had less stress. We looked at each other and burst out laughing, because there is always going to be stressors in our lives, and it's up to each one of us to figure out what we can do about them. 2024 adds a particularly potent brand of stress because it is, my friends, a presidential election year in the United States of America. If the entire world were somehow granted peace, justice, and prosperity on January the 1st, tomorrow, we would still have an American election year to contend with. Take a nice, deep breath. Good. And now another one. Good. This morning, we are going to look at some ways to make 2024 merry and bright. But first, as you are willing and able, imagine that out that window is 2023. And I ask you to turn in that direction and blow it a kiss goodbye. For approximately 7 years now, many of us and many people of my acquaintance have said, oh my gosh, I am so glad to see the back of, fill in the number for the year. I just can't wait for the new year. I am noticing here at the waning moments of 2023 that we are saying goodbye, but we are not necessarily looking forward. And I want to say from my heart to yours, from this place here to you, we can make 2024 not only work for us, we can get to this point next year and say, we are here in a place where we have found joy in the morning. Let's work for that. So, here we are. I've got 13 rules for what we're going to do in the coming year. And periodically, I'm going to check in with you and say, so how are you doing? Have you gotten to number 8 yet? Number 8 is forgive yourself. So maybe we should start there. When you travel by plane, and we just discussed how very difficult that is now. It is so hard to fly. When you travel by plane, the very nice attendant will say to you, here where the bathrooms are, here where the exits are. We will come through with a cart and give you soft drinks and, if you're lucky, tomato juice. But if the pressure in the cabin fails, wouldn't it be nice if they did it in that dramatic way? If, oh my heavens, if it fails, a mask will drop from the ceiling, and you are to put it on. And we're all nodding, or we've already fallen asleep, or we have our triple N95 on. And they always say, if this happens, put your mask on first if you are traveling with elders or with children. And everyone I know who might be traveling with elders or children will think to themselves, oh, no, no, no. My mother gets the mask first, and then my child gets the mask because I can do with a little brain damage. It's okay. I am begging you, my friends, put your mask on. And you may take that for whatever it means to you. So we need you engaged in 2024. And I'm not going to talk much politically today because it's just not something I feel is appropriate in a house of worship and joy and community. But I'm going to tell you now 3 rules, and I hope you will take these to heart. They are my friend Sarah's rules, and they were told to her by a professional stage manager in the theater. And they are the rules of whose problem is it? Number 1, is it my problem? No. Then if it's not your problem, turn away and find a problem that is, or allow that problem to find you. But if the answer is, yes, it's my problem. These are my monkeys, this is my circus. If it is your problem, then you have another pair of questions. Is there anything I can do about it, or is there not? And if there is nothing you can do about it after you have discerned the process, then you have to turn away and allow a problem that you can do something about to approach you. But if there is something you can do about it, then you have to go into a deeper discernment process and know this, that it's probably not a problem you have to deal with alone. So talk to your family, talk to your neighbors, talk to your sister and brother congregationalists in this room, and work on solving a problem together. Another deep breath. Rule number 3. Remember this, that the disaster victims are always also the first responders. Whether it is a natural disaster that is human-caused or naturally caused, the first people who respond to that disaster are the people who were immediately affected by it. So if that is true, how can you be ready? How can you be ready for natural disasters? How can you be ready for emotional and physical disasters? So you think about that. And think about that not alone. Don't ponder it at 3 o'clock in the morning at the hour of the wolf, when we all wake up and go, I have not balanced my checkbook in 8 months. I just keep putting more money in hoping I don't balance something. And I can say checkbook to you all because you're older. You understand what a checkbook is. Whoever you are, wherever you are, have around you a circle of friends. Now, many of us, since the coming of the pandemic, have created deep and enduring online relationships. But that's not the same. So, if you are sick and you need my chicken soup, it's going to be hard to get that to you if you live in Maine and I live in North Carolina. So find people around you that you like well enough, maybe even that you love, and be for each other a circle of friends. Know your triggers. Really? I have had to give up Sunday morning talk shows because I simply can't anymore. I can't look at the television and go, why are you interviewing that person who is a known reprobate and possibly a traitor to the nation? Why are you interviewing that person again? So I gave them up. because they were my triggers. I didn't want to go into the beauty that is always Sunday afternoon by thinking, why George Stephanopoulos? Why? So know your triggers. If you have faithfully listened to National Public Radio for years and years and years, but that new announcer on Sunday morning, their voice makes your teeth great. Let it go. I promise you, any news that you really, really need to hear, someone will tell you. I promise someone will tell you. So know what your triggers are. For me, it's the social media, it's the news, but maybe your triggers are being in a great big room full of people that you don't know. And do you have to be in a great big room full of people you don't know? Maybe you do. Maybe you have the kind of work that requires that. But if that's a trigger for you, find the ways that you can not just endure that next hour and a half of whatever that crazy cheese and wine reception is that you said you would go to. Find the ways to make that precious. So find that one lonely person who is sitting in the corner. And I'm looking at you, though I know you're not lonely. You're just sitting in the corner because you're running sound today. Find that one lonely person in the corner and just stand close to them and say hello. Make sure they have the kind of cheese they like. You know, they may like really firm cheese or yellow cheese or that goat cheese that has cranberries in it. Have you had that? Amazing. And just do what little small talk you can. And then go home. Go home. So put in your appearance, if that is a trigger for you, and go home. So think about that. Tomorrow when you're eating your collard greens and black-eyed peas or your Hoppin' John or some of you are probably not from around here. And I've discovered that people in Ohio eat cooked cabbage with coins in it and sausages. So if that's what you eat for your good luck, have at it. Fill your tummy tomorrow. And when you fill your tummy tomorrow, remember the tummies that have no fullness. Remember the empty tummies. And there are tummies in your neighborhood that are empty. And there are tummies around the world that are empty. And this I offer you as an escape hatch. Grieve globally, act locally. So yes, you feel terrible about whatever thing is happening in whatever part of the world. And yes, if you are able to make a big fat donation that is going to make a big difference, please do that. But whatever that issue is, if it is flooding in Sudan, if it is starvation in Syria, if it is war in Gaza, bring it home. So who is suffering at home from flood and famine, disease? Who is that? And let your energy, your love, your grief be spent here in a place where you can actually do something about it. It's no secret that there is a huge issue with unhoused citizens all over the country. But certainly in Asheville, how is it in Black Mountain? Yeah, nodding. It's a problem everywhere, and there are myriad reasons for that problem. But one of the very basics is there's no housing. There's no place for them to be. So if that is the thing that tugs at your heart, find a local group that is doing it and help them. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to start your own 501c3, though if you would like to, it's simple enough to do. Find who's doing the work that drives the passion of your heart and join them. For as little amount of time or as long as you can. Make this coming year the year where you are a helper, where you do the thing that makes your heart big and bold and wonderful. Find that thing. Treat yourself. I can't even believe I'm saying this to a UU congregation, but treat yourself and others with kindness. You are in the South. You are now in the South. Be kind. And when that person who has a Maine license plate pulls right in front of you on 240, they pull in front of you so that you have to slam on your brakes, and then they get up to speed very, very slowly. I want you to think kindly, if not of them, of something else. So if you know your triggers and you have set your boundaries, you're going to know the things you love. So when that person pulls out in front of you and you know they are just mesmerized by the beauty of these mountains, and they have to go very slowly because, oh my goodness, is that really an oak tree that big? And you can't find it in your heart to find the kindness for that particular person because you have to be at the dentist in 7 minutes. Then think about the animals that live in that oak tree. Think about the people in Maine who are very cold right now, when we are only sort of cold. Find the kindness and direct it where you are able to direct it. Because kindness given is also kindness received. Number 8, which you've already heard, forgive yourself. Just do it right now. Just say into your hands whatever thing you are carrying with guilt and shame, and drop it like this into the energy of the earth. Shame and guilt are emotions that feel like actions. And what happens is we stifle our ability to do anything about anything because we feel so ashamed and we feel so guilty and we feel so privileged, and how can we have all this when so many other people have almost nothing? Let it go. Let it go. Grieve globally. Act locally. I want you to practice breathing. No, I mean it. We all think we breathe, and I guess we breathe after a fashion. But when I looked at your faces, what I've said now a few times, take a nice deep breath, and you all kind of settle in, you go, okay, I can do a deep breath. No, I can do it. Oh gosh, that feels really good. Every day is part of your regular spiritual practice. I ask you to be nice to your body and take some deep breaths. Because what happens is the more stressed we get, and trust me, 2024, stress. The more stressed we get, the shallower our breathing gets. And our whole physicality goes, I'm not getting a thought, oxygen. And then we stress again, and then our breathing gets shallower and shallower. So when you are feeling like, oh my gosh, if I have to hear one more commercial from that idiot in Name the State, instead of that, take a nice deep breath. And make noise while you're doing it. Oh, that was great. It's like yoga for your lungs. Nice, deep breaths. In my spiritual tradition, we do things like grounding. And I'm going to talk you through a grounding technique. So when you're feeling like the wind blows you in every direction, and I have been in Black Mountain in a high wind, and it does. But we're talking about metaphorical wind. If the wind is blowing you in all sorts of directions, I want you to dig your heels into the ground as you are willing and able. And imagine tiny little roots growing out of the bottoms of your feet. Tiny little roots. And they go through the carpet and the floor and the subfloor. And they finally make it all the way down to touch the cool, damp bosom of the earth of Black Mountain. And they keep going and going and going until you have a root system like the beautiful oaks in the front yard. And that root system ties you directly into the planet, the energy of the planet, the history of the planet, the age of the planet. And here you are. Here you are. A great tree in the great forest of great and beautiful earth. I want to encourage you, if you have a home altar, or as we sometimes call them, a home celebration table, excuse me, I want you to consider putting a little basket there, a little tiny basket, and put it there as a little safe nest, a soul nest, so that when you are feeling bereft and horrible, instead of sitting in your own soul nest, you call your friend and go, I just feel like the world has gone topsy-turvy. Can my soul come out and hang in your nest? And you have little nests all over your community, little Unitarian Universalist nests. And if you'd like to think of them as bird houses, that's fine too. But know that in the community that loves you and that you love, there need to be places for all of you to find safety and love and rest. Number 11 is time in nature. Go outside. Just go outside. We got so locked into our devices and our chores, if you're like a lot of us. I will think, I'm going to go take a walk now in the garden. But I don't really have chores in the garden this time of year, so instead I will wash the dishes, I'll do a load of laundry, or I'll dust the piano in the living room, which I believe my husband wrote his name on a couple of days ago. Just go outside. Even if it's cold and windy and wet and snowy, which of course it's not going to be this winter. It's going to be a lovely mild winter. Hold that right here in your heart. Lovely mild winter. But even if it's blowing up a gale, go out there and feel what it's like in the wild world. Because that's our world too. We seem so domesticated here, don't we? Look at you all in your nice clothes and your pretty hats. But that's our world too, that wild and feral place where our souls can connect with the souls of all beings. I want you to remember your ancestors. Remember your ancestors. You remember what they went through. All of us here, in one way or another, are immigrants to this continent. Even the oldest inhabitants here came from somewhere else. So think about what ancestors had to endure. Some of us have relatives who made it through the Depression in a particular way. Some of us have relatives who made it through the 60s in a particular way. And some of us have relatives who died for the things they believed in. Let's remember them. And remember that no matter how hard the world seems right now to you, you had ancestors that doesn't compare. So remember them. Remember them, that they gave you not only your DNA, but they also gave you the strength of their example. Sometimes that example is not perfect. That's a discussion for another day. And finally, I ask that you approach 2024 with curiosity and a sense of adventure. Oh gosh, I know it's so hard, isn't it? Okay, deep breath. It's going to be a heck of a year. And I ain't going to lie to you about it. I mean, they're in social media right now, there are all these people saying, well, I planted some beautiful seeds, and those beautiful seeds are going to grow into, yeah, I'm sure that's true. But it's the stressy stuff I want you to think about, to approach it with curiosity, like, man, this is going to be interesting. Maybe we live in interesting times, we know it's a curse, but that's where we are. So I hope that those things I just suggested will help you as we not only endure this year, but we see it as an adventure. We approach it with curiosity and love and affection, not only for the great round ball of the earth, but for each other and for the processes that we have created for ourselves to make it through, so that when we are here this time next year, we are smiling and laughing and going, yes, yes, what a year. Do you remember that amazing thing in July when all those children were singing? Do you remember how the midsummer sun showed us the corn ripening? Do you remember? And then on that day, we will look forward to 2025 with joy, with strength, bound bound completely into the linking chains of our continuous communities. Today, this liminal and holy day is December 31st, 2023. When we look at it numerically, it is 12, 31, 23. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's a waltz. Today is a waltz. Just like good old Guy Lombardo all those years ago. The waltz grew from a Germanic folk dance tradition and became a terribly shocking dance when it was reintroduced in high society in the 18th century. Shocking, because men and women who were neither married nor engaged touched each other in this beautiful dance. The man put his hand on the woman's lower back and pulled her close, guiding them both to the romantic music. The dance, the waltz, this day was described as riotous and indecent in 1825. Here's what I propose. That we face this new year with our work basket of helpful hints, as we outlined above, and face this 12-month with a waltz in our hearts and in our feet. When things seem too hard, too much, impossible, take a moment to say to yourself, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Dun, 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 Waltz in the new year, waltz your way through the hard times and the bright times, and waltz it out again a year from now. Blessed be.
Oh, sorry. I was doing the trance from the waltz.
Okay, probably a different time frame. Closing hymn, number 350. The ceaseless flow of endless time. Please rise.
Again, I'll play the whole thing in case you're not familiar with it.
We'll
May 2024 wrap joy and blessings around your hearts. And may that joy flow from you, from each of us, out into the world to bring peace and justice throughout the whole place. May we all blessed be. Welcome 2024!